How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new video here on the channel. Today we are talking UFC 289, Amanda Nunes versus Irene Aldana, live from Vancouver, British Columbia, Saturday, June 10th. Now this is a really good event personally. I mean, I'm very happy that the UFC is back in Canada, the home country. It might be like a 7 or 8 hour flight from where I am right now through a bunch of wildfires. That being said, if you can donate to any wildfire fund around here and just give something to all these firefighters who are trying to give everything they have to put these like 200 and some wildfires out in this country right now, like, please, if you can, because it's getting wild to see the amount of wildfires here. There's even like, so where I live essentially, there's like, essentially I live in this one spot here. Halifax is about an hour north of me, and there's like a fire like right outside of Halifax, and there's also one in Shelburne, which is like an hour south of me. So I'm like in between, like each way you go, north or south, there's a fire that way and there's a fire that way. So it's like, it's crazy, man. But like, yeah, prayers and shout out to all the firefighters, man. It's phenomenal to see the guys doing what you do, but yeah, no, it's a crazy situation up here to say the least. But anyway, we got some UFC fights to talk about. Nunes versus Aldana, UFC 289. Let's get into the predictions. We're going to predict the whole pay-per-view, so let's get into it. First fight we have on the pay-per-view is Marc-Andre Barriault versus Eric Anders. Now this is a good all-around fight in my opinion. You got two guys who are good on the ground, two guys who are good at jiu-jitsu. I feel like this is going to be one of the best fights on the pay-per-view, and they're starting it off with a bang. I must say, shout out to the UFC. They did a good job with this one. They're going to get a lot of people excited with this fight because, I mean, both guys are willing to throw down. They're not going to leave anything in the cage. They're going to leave it all in there. So I'm thinking this will be a good fight. I feel like this fight will come down to who's better in the striking exchanges, and I feel like it's going to be Marc-Andre Barriault. Plus, Marc-Andre Barriault's in his home country of Canada. I know he's from Quebec, which is a fair ways away from BC, but even still, the home country, they're going to be rooting for Marc-Andre Barriault, let's be honest. I think Eric Anders is a tough fight for anybody in the division, but I feel like Marc-Andre Barriault will get the win here. So give me Marc-Andre Barriault by decision. Sorry if I'm pronouncing his name wrong, by the way. I do not have a French tongue for the life of me. Second fight on the pay-per-view is Dan Ige versus Nate Landwehr? Is that how you say it? Landwehr? Let me know in the comments how you pronounce it, but I'm gonna go with, we'll just call him Nate, as I'm tying my pants. Tie your pants, Nate. That's what we'll call him. For this fight on paper, from what I've seen doing my research, I haven't seen much of Nate, but it looks like striker versus grappler, and I feel like Dan Ige is going to be the striker in this matchup, especially against a guy like Nate who has a better submission rate, has a better takedown rate. Nate seems to be the grappler while Dan seems to be the striker. Now Nate could present some challenges for Dan, because people forget in those striking exchanges, the striker has to keep their hands down, thinking about the takedown, the next grappling exchange, whereas the grappling guy, he could fake the takedown, go for a big right hand or a big left hook or what have you. That's how Khabib dropped Conor McGregor in their fight. Fake the takedown, boom, right overhand, dropped him on his feet. So I feel like Nate is definitely a guy who's going to present Dan Ige some challenges, but I do think Dan Ige is just too tough of a fight for Nate Landwehr at this point. I called him by his last name again, and I don't know why. I'm going to take Dan Ige in this fight. I do think Nate has a good chance, but it's close. So I'm going to take Dan Ige by, let's go third round TKO. I think Dan can get him in the last round. The third fight on this pay-per-view is Mike Mallow, I think that's how you say it, is versus Adam Fudgett. Is that how you say it? It might be. I'm not sure. But from what I've seen of this matchup, it looks like kind of another striker matchup. I do like Mike Mallow in this fight. I've been watching a bit of his highlights. He seems to have some very consistent striking with a good ground game to go with it. So I like Mike Mallow. Adam Fudget, I don't know if he's a Contender Series guy. I might be getting that completely wrong or what it is, but I feel like Adam could present Mike some challenges. They both got 9 wins. Adam has 3 losses. Mike has 1 loss. And Mike is in his backyard. So I'm going to be a bit biased here. I'm going to rock the hometown boy. I'm going to take Mike Mallow. I'm going to take Mike Mallow. I'm going to take him by decision. I feel like that's the safe pick here. It's a close fight, but I like Mike to get the decision at the end of the day. Now, this is where things get interesting. Charles the Bronx Oliveira versus Beneil Dariush. Whew, what a matchup. What a matchup. I'm pretty sure the first time I ever did if I'm not mistaken, the first time I ever did a UFC pay-per-view prediction, like for a card, was the Islam and Charles fight. And I remember at that time, everybody thought that was going to be the best fight, like one of the best fights of all time, because it was like the Invincible versus the Invincible, and they're going to clash in the octagon. And Islam made it look easy. I'm going to be honest, Islam did make it look easy against Charles. But in this fight, I feel like Charles is going to have a lot to prove. He's going to want to get back to Islam. He's going to want to reclaim what's his, what he rightfully believes is his, and get back that lightweight title, which he won against Michael Chandler. He beat guys like Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje. I feel like, and let's not forget, before that Islam Makhachev fight, Charles Oliveira was on like a 12 fight winning streak, which went all the way back to 2018? A 12 fight winning streak that went all the way back to 2018. And let's not forget, he beat up guys like Kevin Lee, Tony Ferguson in that time span. And I know Tony, that was like when Tony was starting to go on the decline, but Tony Ferguson's not an easy fight for anybody. Beneil Dariush made him look like an easy fight, but that was when the decline really started. So, in this fight, I think Beneil has a lot to gain in this position, but I feel like he's going to have a lot of pressure on his shoulders. He's a very good striker, a very good grappler. Don't get me wrong. I love Beneil Dariush, I really do. But I do think he's gonna. I just see someone who's gonna fold under the pressure in Beneil Dariush. I feel like he's a great guy, great human being. I'd love to have a chat with him, just get along. Love to learn fighting from him someday. But I just feel like he's the guy, like under the big lights, he's not gonna do the greatest. It's like you climb the mountain, but when you're at the top of the mountain, it all just goes downhill. It's like that altitude, that extra altitude gets to you at the end of the day. And I mean, I just have that gut feeling about Charles, man. I think he's going to get it done. It's one of those fights where my brain's telling me one thing and my gut's telling me the other. My brain's telling me Dariush and the gut's telling me Charles. So, and one factor I do think is that Dariush is going to be very confident, and unlike guys like Poirier and Gaethje, but Dariush is going to go down to the ground when Oliveira goes to the ground. Like Dariush hits him with a good punch, and Oliveira goes down in the first round, like he has a majority of his title fights. That's such a meme, by the way. I think that's one of the reasons why Islam beat Charles, is because Charles didn't get dropped in the first round. But yeah, no, I think, what was I saying? I feel like Dariush, if he catches Charles with a good punch and Charles gets knocked down, Dariush is going to go down to the ground because he's confident in his jiu-jitsu game. He believes in himself. So that'll be an interesting factor, but that Charles Oliveira jiu-jitsu game's something else. And I feel like this fight's not going to end by stoppage, but I do think Charles Oliveira will pull out a decision in this fight. It's going to be very close. It's going to be very tough. It's going to be very rugged. But give me the Bronx Oliveira to get back in the win column and get one step closer to getting back to the title. Give me Charles Oliveira by decision in this fight. And now time for our main event of the evening. Amanda the Lioness Nunes versus Irene Aldana. A lot of people are sleeping on this fight, I gotta say. I have been very high on Irene Aldana for a very long time. She's not the Mexican champion I thought she was gonna be just yet. Because, I mean, people like Brandon Moreno, Yair Rodriguez, and Alexa Grasso, they've kind of beaten her to it. So, and she has a real good chance to continue on that legacy here. But Amanda Nunes, man, what more can you say about Amanda Nunes? 2 wins over Shevchenko, got that redemption against Juliana Pena, beat up everybody else that stood in her way. Chris Cyborg folded in 32 seconds. Like, what more can you say about Amanda Nunes in the UFC? Absolutely phenomenal. And a young up-and-coming Mexican fighter versus the long, dominant, reigning champion. Can Irene Aldana do what Juliana Pena did? I don't think Amanda Nunes is going to make it that easy for her. I think Irene Aldana is going to have to go through hell and back if she wants to get this done. But I think this fight has a few factors to it. I feel like if Irene Aldana really wants to win this fight, she's going to have to figure out how well she can do on the bottom. And I mean, I remember that liver kick she landed. I think it was against Macy Chiasson. And when she was on her back, like, that was a beautiful kick. I mean, Amanda Nunes isn't going to go down, but if you can keep adding up wear and tear like that, I think you're doing a pretty good job for yourself. And I think she can hold very well in the striking. And I feel she's got the longer range on Nunes too, so Nunes is going to want to get inside, get in the clinch, take her down, and get on top. And as I feel like Amanda's going to be like the heavier of the two fighters, and I feel like Amanda on top is going to really put some wear and tear on Aldana. And I feel like that's what she's going to try to look for as an approach for this fight. But it's interesting, you know. I can see this fight going both ways. I really can. I feel like Aldana can land that shot. I feel like she can wail out a submission out of nowhere. But I can also see Amanda dominating her like she's done everybody else. And to be fair, you can expect that from Amanda Nunes. Like, let's just be honest, Amanda Nunes is an absolute savage. She has eaten up this whole women's bantamweight and featherweight division with ease, really. Let's just be honest. But let's be real, I haven't given an upset prediction just yet. So, why not? You know, it would be easy for me to sit here and say Amanda Nunes dominates Irene Aldana and gets a decision. But we're not doing that here on the Skylar Dagley channel. We're keeping it fun. We're keeping it interesting. Give me Irene Aldana to win by split decision on these scorecards. Do I think she can get it done? Yes. Will it happen? Probably not. But screw it. I believe I've been watching Irene Aldana since 2019, and I think she's got what it takes to be the next Mexican champion in the UFC. And that is it, guys. That is my predictions for UFC 289 this Saturday night, live from Vancouver, British Columbia. Let me know who you're taking in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, guys, it's been a pleasure to have a review again as always. And I will see you next time around. Next UFC pay-per-view is Volkanovski Rodriguez. That's it. That's beginning of July in Las Vegas. That'll be a good one. So if you're a UFC fan on this channel, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, and I'll see you for Volkanovski Rodriguez. Take care, and peace!